Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. So now guys, we use the word impunity a lot whenever we're referring to the Nigerian state, and the word impunity is the harbinger for lawlessness, unbelievable under normal circumstances but believable when it comes to Nigeria. As guys, I bring you this. President Buhari's wife, Aisha, tells IGP to release her ADC and others detained on orders of husband's personal assistant. Convoluted headline, but I think you get the gist. I'll present it to you again. President Buhari's wife, Aisha, tells IGP to release her ADC and others detained on orders of husband's personal assistant. So now this is now the long-winded and complex headline that we're contending with. So now let's see how it is broken down. Aisha Buhari, wife of Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari, has asked the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, to release her security staff in detention on orders of her husband's personal assistant, Sabiu Yusuf, to avoid putting their lives in danger as a result of the C-19 outbreak. Yusuf ordered the detention of Aisha's AD camp, Usman Shugaba, escort commander, and other policemen attached to her after they forced him to leave the presidential villa for refusing to go on a 14-day self-isolation after a private trip to Lagos. Confirming the development on Friday, Mrs. Buhari called on all relevant government agencies to enforce the Quarantine Act signed by the President and ensure that no one is found violating the law. She said that C-19 is real and still very much around in our nation is not in doubt. Consequently, I call on all relevant government agencies to enforce the Quarantine Act signed by Mr. President and ensure no one is found violating this law and the NCDC guidelines, especially in interstate travel, without necessary exemptions for movement of essentials. Anyone who does should at the very least be made to undergo a 14-day mandatory isolation, no matter who the person is. No one should be above the law, and the police command will do well to remember that. Finally, I call on the IGP to release my assigned staff still in the custody of the police in order to avoid putting their lives in danger or exposure to C-19 whilst in their custody. Mrs. Buhari had driven Yusuf out of the presidential villa and insisted that he observed the 14-day isolation period before returning. Recall that the First Lady also stood her ground when some presidency aides flouted the NCDC guideline whilst attending the burial of President Buhari's late Chief of Staff Abba Kyari in Abuja recently. Garba Shehu, Senior Special Assistant on Media and Publicity to President Buhari, was amongst those sent away from the villa by the First Lady for breaching the C-19 rules. So now open warfare now in Aso Rock, of course. I mean, it's always been like this throughout the tenure of this guy, we have to say. Backbiting, backstabbing, abuse of power, riding roughshod over people, and all this sort of behavior. This was, of course, what led to Abba Kyari's demise when he came back from Egypt and Germany, and he refused to isolate or get himself checked, and subsequently started spreading C-19 all over Aso Rock Villa. So now this this Yusuf guy, he's now gone to Lagos on a private visit, no doubt to go and sample babes and all these kind of things that they do. So he's come back, and this Mrs. Buhari is saying, look, we've already had one instance, so now you go and self-isolate and let's see if you are safe before you're able to come back in here. Reasonable request, and is backed up, of course, by the NCDC, which is their own recommendation as well, especially within the seats of power. I mean, Malam Buhari already has enough medical issues that is contending with, and this lady does not now want a new set of concerns brought in to the villa that would just finish the guy off. So she said, go and isolate yourself for 14 days before you can come back, because nobody knows where you have been, nobody knows who you met, and nobody knows what you have. So you go and do as has been recommended by all of the medical experts in this country, and then come back. Reasonable enough. But this guy was so miffed by that simple request. Do you know who I am? Do you know what I do? I will show you. But of course, he cannot show Malam Buhari's wife, Aisha. So then he had to go to the staff surrounding her and sweep them up and have them put in Kirikiri or whatever it is. Kuje, I think it's Kuje that they have in Abuja, isn't it? And then have them put in Kuje. And what have they done? They have told you to simply abide by this rule in one of the most serious situations that the world is contending with. And you've already seen the Abakari example. But still, his arrogance of ignorance is telling him that his ego has been bruised and therefore he must deal with somebody, and he's now swept up this lady's staff and had them detained. Conversations in the comment section: power pass power, the Nigerian way. Some things never change, and this certainly will never change. Come share thoughts about all this with me in the comment section. But before you do that, click on the red subscribe button so it turns gray. The bell button notifies you every time I drop a new video. Then come tell me what you are making of this man pass man mentality of the Nigerian space in the comment section. So I'll leave you here. Carry this conversation on with you in the comment section. But here I say peace.